Back in another YouTube video, it's your boy Uriah G. Today we're going to react to 10 pro wrestling matches that got way out of control. I was literally reacting to it, but then I didn't even have my headphones connected. But we haven't plugged in, so let's start the video. We're going to react to 10 pro wrestling matches that got way out of control. Let's get right into the video.
Professional wrestlers typically discuss what they're going to do in the ring, and a certain amount of planning goes into putting a match together, especially if it comes with a special stipulation attached to it. While this may be the case, things can still go a little further than planned in the heat of the moment. Whether by accident or on purpose, there are plenty of examples of major matches that, in the eyes of many, went too far and had serious repercussions for the health, careers, and reputations of the performers. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are 10 pro wrestling matches that got way out of control. Join us. Number 10, Cactus Jack vs. Terry Funk at IWA Duel of the Wilds. Cactus Jack and Terry Funk spent much of the 90s ripping each other to pieces in various hardcore matches, with their legendary final in the King of the Deathmatch tournament standing out in most fans' eyes as
I remember them being a tag team because they were a tag team, was it WrestleMania 13 or 14? Yeah.
being their bloodiest battle. And don't get me wrong, that match, which took place in front of almost 30,000 people inside Kawasaki Baseball Stadium, was an ultra-violent spectacle. But a match they had on another, much smaller IWA Japan show some 8 months earlier was arguably even more brutal. Highlights of the bouts, fought under no ropes barbed wire scramble bunkhouse deathmatch rules, included
Yeah, that definitely looks like a dangerous match right there. The barbed wire?
fought under no ropes barbed wire scramble bunkhouse deathmatch rules, included Cactus taking a hip toss onto a flaming chair, doing the old hangman top rope spot with the barbed wire, and being struck with a fiery branding iron. Don't worry though, because Funk took more than his fair share of abuse too, and both men were looking like badly wounded soldiers by the end of—
This is something John Moxley would wrestle. A death match. They don't ban these. They do death matches in like indies. I don't know, I think like Japan or something, they do death matches. They don't do that in the WWE.
the grisly 15-minute contest. Mick Foley later recalled how Tracy Smothers asked him not to do anything crazy out there right before he went through the curtain, and he and Funk proceeded to do things to each other that would be illegal in most countries. Number 9,
Right now.
Come on, you get hit with an ad. We only on number 9. I can't even skip it.
and at King of the Ring 2001. Even if you don't like him, you have to give Shane McMahon credit for going out there and taking risks that absolutely nobody would expect him to take.
This match, he tried to do a German suplex to Shane McMahon about, what, 5 times? He tried to break him through the glass, and it didn't break, I think, at first, and then he did. Then the glass broke.
Whether it's going through tables, getting bashed in the head with chairs, or jumping off the highest thing he can find, Shane routinely did things in WWE matches that put his body in harm's way. At this point in his career, Kurt Angle rarely tapped into his own hardcore side, but he met McMahon every step of the way when the two clashed in a street fight at the 2001 King of the Ring pay-per-view. The match featured all the plunder you would expect with this stipulation, trash cans, kendo sticks, and so on, but things went up a level when the two men made their way to the show's stage sets. It was there that Kurt, who was wrestling his 3rd match of the evening and had just broken his tailbone moments prior, was supposed to suplex Shane through a glass window. However, a production mix-up
He got injured during the match.
had resulted in the wrong type of glass being ordered, and Angle repeatedly attempted to do the spot, resulting in Shane suffering a concussion, not to mention numerous cuts, as his concerned father contemplated stopping the match from backstage. Number 8, Stan Hansen vs. Vader at New Japan.
Alright, we're gonna skip this one, because I don't know. Oh, I've seen that before. His eye, right? It got, I think, stuck to the rope or something, and his eye socket or his eye came out. Hold on.
an incredibly swollen eye. It wasn't just swelling though, the big man's eyeball had actually fallen out of the socket due to Hansen's punches, with Vader having to pop it back in there with his thumb. They continued to pound on each other for a further 10 or so minutes, with Vader requiring surgery on not just his eye, but also his nose and orbital bone when all was said and done. Number 7, Nick Gage.
Graphic content. I'm just letting you guys know that, bro. That match. I mean, I didn't see that match, but that story with him, his eye. I guess that was from the ropes or something like that. And yeah.
Versus David Arquette at GCW LA Confidential. You really have to hand it to David Arquette, the hot indie when the end of a team is Terry Funk at EC when he was in.
Alright, we're gonna do the Sabu one next. I don't know, I'm not familiar with these guys, so we're gonna do the next one.
Over his head. Number 6, Sabu versus Terry Funk at ECW Born to Be Wired. You only need to take one look at Sabu's battle-scarred body to know that the death-defying maniac would, and usually did, put himself through anything for the sake of the fans' entertainment.
Yeah. He's always in, like, certain spots, you know. Either through a table, elimination, a Royal Rumble elimination, him going through a ladder or something. Sabu, he's an Extreme Championship Wrestling wrestler. He's an ECW wrestler, so therefore, he takes a lot of risks. And he's a high flyer.
Terry Funk may have been in his 50s and decades into a storied career by the time he met Sabu in a no-rope barbed wire match in ECW, but he was still meaner than a rattlesnake, tougher than shoe leather, more dangerous than a hollow-eyed scorpion, middle-aged and crazy like a fox, and he had his own deathmatch reputation to uphold. A total spectacle that goes well and truly off the rails. The match offered little finesse, but a whole bunch.
And usually when Sabu goes through barbed wire, he doesn't sell it that bad, so he's pretty much used to pain from wrestling, I guess.
Of visceral violence that had you worrying about their health and safety more and more as it went on. In a match full of insanity, it's perhaps best known for the moment where Sabu rips his bicep open on the
I mean, this looks like he's selling it, so he said he just ripped his, what do you say, tricep? Bicep?
Full of insanity, it's perhaps best known for the moment where Sabu rips his bicep open on the barbs and rather than stop to receive medical attention, simply tapes the wound up and carries on as if nothing had happened on his way to beating Funk to win the ECW Heavyweight Championship. He certainly earned that one.
Yeah, at least he won. He won the ECW Championship. Gotta give it to him for that.
Number 5, The Undertaker vs. Mankind at King of the Ring 1998. Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker had set the bar incredibly high with the first ever Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood 1997. Less than a year later, the Dead Man and Mick Foley were booked for the sequel and both men were unsure about how they were going to live up to the original. With little storyline juice going in and Taker's working ability hampered by a foot injury.
This is when Undertaker chokeslam Mankind through the Hell in a Cell. He gets up. Well, he doesn't get up easily. The medics come out there, help him, try to help Mick Foley walk back there. He doesn't want any help. He still wants to wrestle. So he goes back in there and he gets, I think, like I said, he gets chokeslammed through the Hell in a Cell and he gets thrown off the Hell in a Cell into an announce table. So, yeah.
Foley opted to start the match out on top of the cage and grab the audience's attention immediately with one of the wildest bumps in wrestling history. To many, the match was already out of control the moment Mrs. Foley's baby boy sailed from the edge of the cell through the announce table below. But the Hardcore Legends night wasn't over yet. Not only did Foley unintentionally take a bump through the cell to the ring below, giving him numerous injuries, but he somehow made it through the rest of the match, which included him taking even more punishment, including bumps onto thumbtacks.
Yeah, like, this was actually probably Mankind, Mick Foley. This is probably one of his most dangerous matches because due to all the injuries that he had to deal with during this match. That's the reason why this match for Mankind, probably one of his most dangerous matches.
Remains one of the most infamous matches in WWE, nay professional wrestling history, and some would still say that Jim Ross's call to stop the damn match should have been heeded. Number 4, Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland at AEW.
Okay, now we're talking about AEW. Y'all comment down what's y'all favorite AEW wrestlers. I need to start watching a little bit of that. Cause a lot of the wrestlers from WWE, they go over there, so it's not really a problem. It's really, I can say AEW is hard hitting. And stuff like that. They're hard hitting, and they don't really follow too much to the script. They cuss a little bit on the show. They break script. Like I said, they break script. They have more freedom in AEW, right? Like more creative freedom. I don't really know if I'm right or wrong. The way I see it, it looks like they have more creative freedom in AEW. The superstars. But then again, I don't watch AEW like that. But they are hard hitting wrestling. I think they have barbed wire and stuff like that in there.
All Out 2024. At AEW Full Gear 2023, Adam Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland brutalized each other in a Texas death match that many heralded as an instant classic. So when the two bitter rivals met a year later in the main event of All Out 2024, they must have been thinking, how are we going to top that? Their lights out steel cage match was, to put it mildly, a polarizing affair. A staple gun, barbed wire, a steel chair, bumps onto friggin' cinder blocks, a big wooden splinter, unprotected shots to the head. All of these were
some of these weapons that they're using could be in the Attitude Era, not in WWE right now. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Certain things are used. That's why I say they're hard hitting. They're kind of more I'm not gonna say they're more dangerous. I'm not trying to compete them two, but the differences with the companies.
To the common man wincing using sights. But it was about to get a whole lot more squeamish still. No, the worst of it was when Page grabbed a hypodermic needle and stuck it through Strickland's cheek prior to smashing Swerve on the head with a chair one last time before the referee gave it the old "alright lads, enough's enough" and mercifully called for the bell. Number 3, Beulah McGillicuddy versus...
But like I said, because I know there's AEW fans out there, hard hitting. They're hard hitting. I can see that. I can see why people like that. AEW. I prefer WWE. Always been a WWE fan. WWE and TNA. Those are my two. TNA, WWE. ROH. I watched it a little bit because it used to be on TV. FCW. That's old though. NXT, I used to watch it in a certain time period. I don't really watch it much anymore.
Bill Alfonso at ECW as good as it gets. While ECW fans might have expected to see blood and guts from the likes of Sabu, Terry Funk and the Sandman, they probably weren't expecting much of anything when managers Beulah McGillicuddy and Bill Alfonso faced each other in 1997. However, Fonzie knew that he was on his way out the door due to his involvement in trying to broker secret deals for ECW talent to jump to WCW, and decided to use the match with Mrs. Tommy Dreamer as either his stage for a grand exit or a way to save his job with the promotion. Because just moments into the match, the former referee was shedding buckets of the red stuff, giving proceedings a genuine sense of drama and danger. I mean, seriously, the whistleblower was just covered in claret and yet somehow managed to get through a 7-minute scrap with the untrained Bueller, which ended up being better than it had any right to be. Alfonso really did save his backside too, as Heyman didn't feel as if he could fire somebody who had just put themselves in the hospital due to their efforts on the show.
Turn your scoop.
Yeah, it wasn't ad. Again, it's fine. But WWE, TNA, those are my go-to. Well, I don't really watch TNA anymore, but TNA at a certain time. Y'all call me your favorite TNA wrestlers.
Royal Rumble 1999. After Mick Foley got through Hell in a Cell with The Undertaker, Vince McMahon thanked him for doing what he had done in the match, but made it clear that he never wanted to see him do anything like that ever again. Foley never did take bumps as scary as the ones he did on that fateful night, but he wasn't done terrifying his boss or his family by testing the limits of how much punishment a human body could withstand. At the 1999 Royal Rumble pay-per-view, Mankind defended.
Wasn't he getting like chair shots to the head? Like The Rock kept hitting him in the head or telling him, "Do you quit?" This was that match. Cause if you haven't seen that documentary Beyond the Map, they go into depth with this match, Beyond the Map.
Ended his world title against The Rock in an I Quit match. It was a spectacular, entertaining match in its own right, but the Great One went overboard on the finish. The two men had agreed that the ending would see Foley, with his hands cuffed behind his back, get bonked on the head with a few unprotected chair shots, after which a pre-recorded message would play, making it seem like he had said the two magic words. In the heat of the moment, however, The Rock turned a few unprotected chair shots into 11, much to the horror of those watching, which included his wife and 2 young children at ringside. Number 1, Sabu and the Sheik versus Tarzan Goto and Atsushi Onita.
Alright, we're gonna wrap it up here. That was 10 pro wrestling matches that got way out of control. Cause I know Sabu. I think, what is that, Iron Sheik? Well, I don't know the other ones. Okay, that was 10 pro wrestling matches that got way out of control. Tell me what you guys want to see next in the comments down below. I got more videos coming. Stay tuned. Subscribe, like, comment, and yeah, you're out.